Contact the Great Bend Recreation Commission office for more information. That's your People's Bank and Trust Community Calendar. I'm Steve Webster.
Is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Isaacs into the paint, lost his footing. Picked up ahead, Adams throws it down. No foul here. O'Banner for the tie. And that's the ball game. Wow. And Kansas escapes.
We played well. You know, anytime you score 75 on the road is usually a good thing, especially when you're playing against a team that guards like Tech. So we played about as well offensively as we could the first half after the 16-minute timeout. And they made shots, too. I mean, if I was a fan, I'd probably enjoy watching that game. There was some good basketball play going on.
So we wanted to be aggressive the first 5 minutes and pretty much the whole game. We are a really dangerous team when we're going downhill and when you're sharing the ball and diving to each other. So I feel like when Keontae got it going, I kind of got it going. It just boosted our confidence and I believe.
It's like having a quarterback on the football team that is not fazed by pressure and stands in a little longer and is willing to take a hit. And Keith it's his 5th year in college, and he wants to win. And he's got this supreme confidence that drives me crazy sometimes because of some of the shots and the plays that he makes. But the thing that makes him special, you know, your greatest strength is usually your greatest weakness, but he's getting better every single day, and I'm so proud of him.
This whole streak thing that you all know about and if I keep getting asked about that I think is just fantasy has got to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is if we stop making errors down the stretch in the game, or we stop making errors at the beginning of the game that put us behind the 8 ball. Those things got to stop. I made a commitment to those men in that room to be a better coach this week. I've got 1 week to coach this team.
I give my all every day. I don't know anything less. And, you know, all I want to do is help this team win and us find a way to do it. And I know we're going to overcome all those obstacles. And I'm not going to blink because I know who I am. I know the dedication I have for this game and how much it means to me. It's meant the world to me since I was yay high. We're going to go somewhere, and I'm excited about it. And it's going to be worth it.
Good afternoon and welcome into Sports Day. Joining me today, I'm Mike Hester in for Steve Webster. We're going to have Aaron Clark and Mike Corson on board today as we talk a little bit of sports here on Sports Day. Sports Day is presented to you by Barton Community College and Barton Community College Athletics. We appreciate everything they do. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
What, he's not a Padawan just because the Jedi Master's gone?
Yes, exactly. This is 3 Padawans, so to speak, if you want to look at it.
Old Webby Kenobi is gone today. So
Webby Kenobi?
Webby Kenobi.
All right. Okay. You'll have to answer to him later, and you have to ride to Garden City with him on Friday, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he knows. He's the master. I'm the Padawan. I'm learning everything I can from him.
Okay. That was Aaron Clark. Before that, you heard Mike Corson. I'm Mike Hesher, as I mentioned, and we are in on Sports Day. The sounds of the past 24 hours. We started with the Kansas Jayhawks, as they were big winners. Not really big winners, but they did win last night against Texas Tech. As we heard from, that was the play-by-play of the final seconds of last night's game in Lubbock on ESPN as KU gets a steal and then a dunk from K.J. Adams before a final heave at the buzzer by Texas Tech misses, allowing third-ranked Kansas to hang on and beat Texas Tech 75-72, ending the Texas Tech Red Raiders' home winning streak at 29 games. Mike Corson, you actually watched the game. What were your thoughts?
And I watched it because Texas Tech was favored over the third-ranked team, so I was like, what's up with that? I wasn't aware of the streak, but a steal indeed. So right before, KU was up by 10 into the final couple minutes. Tech cuts it down, has a chance to drive the lane. So right before he drives, one of the KU players kind of grabs one of the Tech players, maybe pulls him down, and then the kid drives the lane and supposedly slips. Leads to the steal, a massive dunk.
That's what we heard, yes.
And so that left the door open with a 3-point game with 5 seconds left, whereas if you would have maybe ran the clock out. But nice win on the road in the streak. DeJuan Harris, 5 for 5 3-pointers at one point.
He was the second. Well, Bill Self talks about Aaron Clark. I didn't get to watch it. I was doing Hoisington last night. So when I got into the car, it was a 10-point game with like 4 or 5 minutes to go. I'm thinking, okay, this one's over. And then I found out this morning it was a 3-point win at the buzzer. So good job for KU.
Yeah, my thing, it was like, I think I was watching it, a few minutes left, 10-point game, and I go into the other room where I have live ESPN on, because I was watching it way later, and I saw this final score was 75-72. I'm like, well, now I got to watch to finish, see what happens.
I had a similar reaction to the K-State game. The scoring 116, something like a K-State record there last night.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. You're jumping ahead of there, Aaron, but nice job because you knew that we'll be talking about K-State in a little bit. The second bite we heard was from Bill Self, as DeJuan Harris did score 18 points, as Mike Corson did mention. 13-1 Jayhawks rallied to beat Oklahoma State on Saturday, 69-67. So KU's had a couple big games here lately where they've won close ones. Harris connected on all 5 of his three-pointers, accounting for almost half of the Jayhawks' total of 11 points. And KU is on the road Saturday when they go to West Virginia.
Yeah, and I know there was another key stretch in there. Grady Dick was hot again. So there was a stretch. It seemed like maybe Tech missed a shot, and then I think Dick hit a 3, and then Harris hit a 3. So it was a quick, like, 8-point swing. And then I think that put it up back to double digits. And you think at the time, well, okay, he's just holding, but those points proved to be pivotal.
Okay, Aaron Clark. We heard from Marcus Noel. He had 36 points and 9 assists as K-State beat Texas 116-103, setting a school scoring record with a stunning offensive outburst that saw the Cats score 58 points in the first half.
Well, I think Texas was ranked like 6th.
Yeah,
6th, and K-State unranked still at this point, I believe. 13, not anymore after last night, but 13-1. Like going in, I think they were unranked. And I think they're a great story in college basketball so far this season after being a pretty good story in college football. Like athletics for K-State so far looking really bright this year, and I'm interested to see K-State keep this momentum going forward.
Well, it's interesting coming back to the state of Kansas. We got KU football performing better, so we might have a KU K-State rivalry in both basketball and football. How long has it been since that's happened?
Michael
I left them both up.
I don't know, like
when Frank was coaching.
Frank Martin, that could be. Yeah, okay.
There were some pretty mean games
There
going.
were some, and then before that, Bob Huggins, but he was only there a year, wasn't he?
But have you seen the uniforms from last night?
I heard you talking to Webby about that. They came out with their lavender purple ones. Is that correct?
You're going to go lavender on the road against number 6 Texas. But, yeah, Google those. Unique, to say the least.
Okay, were they the same lavender? Because they used to wear those a long time ago at home for the most part, where they had different color lavender tops and bottoms. I don't know, was that last night or not?
Webby said something this morning. I didn't even check out the bottoms, but
okay.
I think they were complete lavender with some dark purple trim.
I think the new lavenders are supposed to be kind of inspired by the old ones.
Okay. I never understood because they're purple and white, are they not?
Well, yeah, purple and white. You put them together, and then you kind of get that lavender color.
Okay, save the lavender for Easter, Mike.
Okay,
bringing in the thoughtful art discussion today.
Okay, well, we're a wide-ranging show here. You know, when the master is gone and the kids are in charge, you never know what's going to happen. That's all I got to say.
They lulled the Longhorns to sleep with that lavender. Nice and pastel, yeah.
And then we heard from Jerome Tang, the head coach of K-State. As the Wildcats did come up with that big win, the Wildcats look to continue their hot start in another tough place on Saturday as they played 19th-ranked Baylor in Jerome Tang's return to Waco. So that'll be interesting, K-State going to Waco on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too many easy games on the road in the Big 12 this winter.
You're probably right. Then we heard we're going to switch to the Broncos, and there'll be some people out there. We're not going to bash the Broncos, okay? I got a couple friends out there, acquaintances, whatever you want to call them, that the referees caused the loss to the Chiefs and what other stuff. But so Aaron has an opinion on that, I take it?
Looks like he's got 4 pages of opinions.
not 4 pages on that, but, you know, we do bring some notes into the show. Only one of these is new. Like the other 4 have been written on previous days.
And you just haven't been able to use them.
Yeah.
Isn't that frustrating?
Not all of them. Well, it's not frustrating because I just want to be prepared to talk about anything. But I think the most frustrating parts about the Broncos season thus far has been they've played the Chiefs exceptionally well twice.
Correct.
And looked just like a different team against everyone else. Like if they could get up and get out for games like they do against Kansas City, I think they'd have a much better record and potentially still have Nathaniel Hackett as their head coach. But it's crazy to see how well they perform, or their offense can get rolling against the Chiefs, where you see Russ make these big throws down the field into questionable pass interference. You know, like we can get into the Cortland Sutton debate there, but it's impressive. He's making these throws against the Chiefs, and yeah, the Chiefs have a lot of young defensive backs.
Basically all rookies, other than
a lot of rookies there. But
right.
if that offense could get humming, I think they'd show a lot of improvement. But they just haven't been able to get going like they have against KC.
The one thing I will bring up, and this will bring criticism from the Bronco fans, their defense collapsed when it matters the most. Their offense made many familiar mistakes in the 27-24 loss to the Chiefs. It was the 7th loss in 8 games for the once proud franchise that will once again miss the playoffs. But how many times, and I know the Bronco defense is, ranked very well, but how many times have they had a chance to maybe get a win if they get off the field, but the defense late in the game doesn't come up with that big stop? And maybe they're tired because they're on the field the whole game. That's the argument.
That's what I was going to bring up. Part of that is that when Denver is in these games, it's a lot of because their defense has been playing very well leading up to it. And so you wonder how much fatigue wears on them. And also, I've been surprised at how well they've been able to stay afloat post Bradley Chubb.
Right.
Like, I kind of expected their defense just to drop off around the board because losing that kind of edge presence can have just widespread effects on the entire defense just because they don't the opposing offenses don't have to scheme for that elite player on the edge. But they've been managing to keep their defensive numbers up. But I do agree, it'd be nice to see them come up big and clutch for the former no-fly zone.
Ooh, going back a few years. Okay, so headlines today. The Chiefs begin practicing Tuesday for the regular season finale against the Raiders, which could earn them the AFC West champions and the #1 seed in the conference in an unprecedented situation in the NFL. So my understanding is if they don't play the game, and I don't think they will between the Bills and the Bengals, if they don't play it and the Chiefs beat the Raiders, they have the best winning percentage, so they will get the bye and home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs.
And you've probably read more about it. So I saw last night they will not make up the game this week.
Not this week, but there's also a possibility of, and this is the other one I heard, they have that week between the championship games and the Super Bowl. They could just move everything back a week and have the Bengals and Bills play alone by themselves that first week of what it would have been the playoffs.
Really, at this point, I just think there's so much, because I've read a lot about, there's just so much speculation on what could possibly happen, because it's nice that they have that kind of cushion week that they can push things back to, but at the same time, it's nice for teams to have that week, like the teams in the Super Bowl, to be able to rest after not only a long regular season, a long playoff season in rough conditions to get players back up to top form. So I don't quite know what they're gonna do, but it's just unprecedented situation.
It is crazy. Obviously we're not discounting the health of the person who was injured, but that's, unfortunately life does move on, and these guys are highly paid professionals and they know the risks when they go into the game.
Well, and real quick, so if you're Buffalo, we'll take it. We'll be the #2. Kansas City's going to be cold. Buffalo's going to be cold. We don't get the Mafia, but we will take an extra week's rest and know where we are, as opposed to we can't have this hanging over our head for 3 more weeks.
I don't know. I don't think they'll play the game myself. That's a personal opinion.
I think the idea of seeing both Buffalo and Cincinnati seeing it as kind of a late season extra bye, granted that 1 seed in the AFC does seem incredibly valuable.
Yes.
Because home field advantage in Buffalo is a special kind of home field advantage, because players just don't play in that very often, because there's don't get me wrong, it gets very cold in Kansas City. It gets frigid in Buffalo.
And they get a lot of snow,
it's
too.
a drag cold, though.
Yes. And so but the idea of them getting a little bye here would be enticing, just to give players a chance to rest, get some miles off the legs, get some rest in there.
And the Bengals and Bills have proven they can beat the Chiefs no matter where they play. So I don't know if that's a big thing for them or not. Obviously you want to play at home. But switching gears to baseball, and I am happy today. The Royals have traded Ryan O'Hearn for cash to the Baltimore Orioles. The 29-year-old O'Hearn hit .239 with 1 home run and 16 RBIs last season. He spent 5 big league seasons with the Royals, and basically, in my opinion, he had one good half of a year in 2018. He had a decent second half, and they signed him to several one-year contracts. but Ryan O'Hearn is no longer a Royal, so I can celebrate.
So they just gave him the 1-year contract for what was it, 1.4?
It was something like that, yes.
Do they get that cash back, or did they?
That's a good question. It does not say how much cash they got out of the deal.
And if you're happy, think of, I guess he was originally released, or they didn't pick him up off waivers, and then he got traded. I'm like, you give me $1.4 million, I'll take a year off.
Okay.
It's kind of like when a coach gets bought out, of their contract,
right,
like, with a couple years on, and so they just get like, oh man, I was planning on coaching for the next 3 years, but you're going to give me $27 million not to?
Yeah.
Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
I will say I liked O'Hearn. I know he wasn't the greatest producer. He was my Royals feud teammate at FanFest a couple years ago. So maybe moving to Baltimore, getting out of Kauffman, he is a power guy. Maybe the ball will carry for him a little bit better out there, and he can be a legit power guy.
Only time will tell. Well, that's it, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Coming up on Sports Day, Mike Corson will talk with the Great Bend Lady Panther basketball coach Cindy Beck. And then Steve Webster will have an interview with Clint Kinnaman. And I will talk to the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Wilbrock. Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College. Train for a new career at Barton Community College in areas like carpentry, network security, or pharmacy tech. Learn more at gobarton.com. Final thoughts, gentlemen, before we leave you? Or you leave us, I guess? Guess not. Okay, it's pretty quiet over on that side of the window, so we'll take a break. We'll be right back with more Sports Day after this on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
The need for nurses is constant. Barton Community College offers practical and registered nursing programs. The affordable and challenging coursework is taught by experienced instructors who care about you and have a passion for teaching in the field of nursing. Get hands-on training in the classroom, state-of-the-art simulation labs, and at clinical sites for this high-demand field. The priority application deadline is January 31st. Apply online at nursing.bartonccc.edu.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
There's nothing like A-STEM therapy. This is Tim Marcus from Progressive Physical Therapy in Hayes. Research shows A-STEM therapy improves muscle performance and neural functioning. It's highly effective for those dealing with tennis elbow, carpal tunnel, sports injuries, and general aches and pains.
You don't need to hurt. Physical therapy can help. Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
If you've been injured in an accident and need cash now before your case settles, Oasis Financial can help. Last month, Oasis helped over 3,000 people. Why not you? If you have an attorney, call Oasis Financial today at 877-266-9083. It takes just 3 minutes to apply. And once you're approved, get $500 to $100,000 of your settlement in as little as 24 hours with no risk to you. That's right. Get $500 to $100,000 within 1 day. If you lose your case, you don't have to pay Oasis back, ever. So call Oasis today to see if you qualify at 877-266-9083. That's 877-266-9083.
Better days are today. Get the cash you need with Oasis.
Call Oasis today at 877-266-9083. Oasis is currently not providing legal funding in Arkansas, Kansas, Kentucky, Maryland, North Carolina, North Dakota, or West Virginia.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined by Great Bend High School varsity coach Cindy Beck. Coach, going into the break, kind of nice to give the girls some time off?
Yeah, we did. We got some time in the gym, a little bit of time there, and we got some time away with our families and things like that, kind of take that both physical and mental break and enjoy the holidays for a little bit, and then we kind of headed back at it and are ready to roll with the game on Friday.
So the Lady Panthers hit the break at 4-2. To me, one of the big things was turnovers heading into the breaks. Looking at your stats, like 18 turnovers a game versus 11 assists a game. Is that something that you guys hit hard?
Turnovers is definitely a focus for us. It's kind of been something we've talked about a lot. I think it's something that a lot of teams know that we tend to, under pressure, kind of get a little uneasy and get a little flustered, and that's been something we've talked about a lot is just the consistency of playing, whether it's the first quarter or the last quarter. kind of having that calmness to us and be able to play with that confidence in taking care of the ball. So it's definitely going to be something as we, head into the WAC league games, these next couple of weeks, that people know us. They know our players. You start seeing teams that we know them a little bit better, and they know us. And so that kind of stuff really comes down to having to kind of take care of the basketball.
We'll look at some of your stats here. Sadie Spray in the first 6 games, 17.5 points, 4.8 rebounds. Emily Hall, 7.7 points, 5.3 rebounds. Mackenzie Premer, 5 points and 4.5 rebounds. And then Kara Feist, 4.3 points and 4.7 rebounds. What kind of struck me is you've got Sadie going about 18 and Emily adding about 8. Is that something also you're looking for in 2023, is maybe some more scoring?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at our team, you kind of know that a lot of our offense is going to go through those two young ladies. And the other thing we've talked about is that, if we can have a few others step up and, get 6, 8 here or there, that's going to be big for us. As we continue down the stretch, people scout, people, things like that, they're going to know what we're trying to do and who we're trying to get the ball to. And we can't go away from that completely, but yet we also have to be able to adjust to it. Sadie and Emily are both going to see different defenses, different matchups, and things like that. And as a team, we have to be able to adjust and either find ways to get them the ball and get them the looks we want, and then also be threats as other kids on the court. I think that's one of those deals we talk about is different kids coming down and popping an early shot, real early in the possession may not be what we want, but we also have to have the confidence to be able to step up and hit a shot. And so that's something that every girl kind of is understanding their role more and more. And, we're going to see different things. Like I said, people are going to start guarding safe different ways. And so we have to either adjust to it and kind of find ways to still make it work.
Lady Panther varsity basketball coach Cindy Beck. So obviously getting into Western Athletic Conference play Friday night at home against Garden City. To me, maybe the league is a little wide open, maybe Liberal, maybe Hayes, but you guys in Garden maybe right up there. How big is it to kind of come out and make an impact this first time out?
I think that's what it comes down to is right now, everyone's trying to figure out who their team really is, just like, we are. We've had some good games. We've had some up and down games. We've gotten away with a few things here and there. And, as we start this new year, new and fresh and coming into league, I want to see us develop into who we are and really hold true to it and be consistent game in, game out. Garden City's got a good athletic team coming at us, and I want us to come out strong. And that's where you build that confidence, coming out and being able to kind of play our game and do things to make other teams uncomfortable rather than feeling the other side of it where, everyone's taking us out of what we do. So I want us to start out strong, first for the WAC games overall, and then, for the new year, new season, kind of feeling a little bit. But, I think we want to go compete for the NAC title. I mean, if that's not a little bit of your goal at some point, I'm not sure exactly if we're making the right movements, getting better and stuff anyway. So, yeah, we do want to compete, and every time you step on the court with a WAC opponent, it's going to matter. So this is going to be our first test for that, and home, opportunity too. So hopefully we can come out and play a strong game.
And in those first 6 games, everything's kind of packed in, maybe not a lot of time to rethink things through. Had some time over the break. Will we see anything different at all for the 2023 part of the season?
We worked a lot over the break, really just working on our confidence in shooting. I think we have got a lot of girls with good shots, and it's just been kind of we struggled to shoot the ball so far. And, so it's kind of been trying to just build that confidence, keep working through some of the things we do. I'm not big on necessarily doing a ton of different things. I just want to be really good at the things that we do. We've got some girls that are on the court this year that have not seen a lot of varsity time in previous years. So hopefully they're getting more and more comfortable, and we're working more cohesively as a team. That's kind of what we want on and off the court, is just kind of seeing us all work together to continue to grow and get better, because we're going to have to get better. We're going to keep seeing tougher competition, and if we want to compete with them, it's going to require us to continue to improve.
Lady Panther basketball coach Cindy Beck, good luck. Lady Panthers take a 4-2 record into Friday's home game against Garden City.
Thank you very much.
More Sports Day after this.
Some of us were born to farm. Some diesels, like Cenex Premium Diesel, were born to fuel. Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn to reduce particulate matter and keep filters cleaner for longer. Fuel your equipment like a pro with Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster and leave typical number 2 diesel to the amateurs. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Camp Lejeune Justice is responsible for the content of this ad. Attention Marines, military, contractors, and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune for 30 days or longer between August 1953 and December of 1987. For 34 years, those at Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries. Passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow victims to seek compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water.
For a free consultation, call 800-311-3532. That's 800-311-3532.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Sports Day here on a Wednesday. Steve Webster with you, and our next guest, well, I guess a high school coaching legend, I'll call him. Clint, it's okay. Clint Kinnaman joining us here on the program. Clint, I was telling you before we went on the air, this was I live in a cave, I guess, because I found out, I didn't see, I thought maybe you'd put on a heck of a lot of weight on the, at Wichita East. Because I was watching them in their game that they played. God, who were they even playing? I can't remember now, but I was on and I saw this guy. I said, well, that doesn't look like Clint. And then, okay, I did some research. Congratulations, the new head coach of Whitewater Remington, joining us here on the show today. Clint, great to have you back on the airwaves here in Central Kansas.
Hey, it's great to talk to you again, Steve.
Well, it's been an interesting journey for you, but let's talk about your team that you have this year. Remington, got a nice little team, looks like.
We do. When I interviewed for the job, they told me, hey, there's a pretty good nucleus that's going to be coming back. Had a lot of success with last year's team, but they graduated some pieces. They were 12-9 last year, and we had a really, really good summer with the guys. I mean, you could tell that they wanted to be coached. They wanted to be coached hard. In fact, there's been a couple of times I thought I'd been pretty tough on them, and came back and said, okay, do I need to tone this down just a little bit? And they were like, absolutely not, Coach. We deserve everything we get, and we want to be coached hard and want to reach our potential. We're pretty senior dominant, and I think we returned like 38 points per game off of last year's squad. But it's so nice to coach kids that really want to be coached and want to get better. Don't think they know everything about the game, and just an incredibly hard-working bunch.
Okay, last time you were on Sports Day, you were telling us about your new job you're going to have at Wichita East, and I guess kind of talk about how that went the last 2 years and what got you to Remington. Clint, I guess that's a kind of a wide-open question right there.
I could take this a lot of different directions. I kind of needed a change when we left St. John, and my wife and I decided, hey, let's go ahead and give this a whirl. We went into it eyes wide open. We knew that it was going to be totally different than coaching a small town. I wanted to be able to give those East kids, the same experience that we were giving the St. John kids. That is a family type atmosphere. Where we're having the kids over to the house. They're being part of our family. And the first year, I thought the kids did a pretty good job buying in. We ended up, I think we were 11-10 that year. Probably overachieved a little bit. We had a little bit of talent, but not a ton. Overachieved a little bit, but it was they wanted to be coached. And the following year, probably kept a couple of guys that we maybe should have gone, looking back, maybe we should have cut, that ended up being a little bit of negative influences. And I just couldn't pull them together. I couldn't get them to totally buy in, and it ended up not a great year. I think we won 4 games last year. We were in some games. We also got blown out of a lot of games. Had to deal with a lot of off-court issues that I just really didn't want to continue to have to deal with, and decided that, hey, we need to take a look, find something a little bit different. And the Remington job opened up, and it's one where we still live in the same house that we did when we were in Wichita. So that worked out perfect. It's about a 20-minute drive every day, not a bad drive at all. And I'm in a great place right now. I really am. The East administration, they were awesome. They did everything possible and to try to make it be a success, and we just couldn't get it done. So, it's one of those where I guess you don't know until you try. We tried, and we didn't get it done. So, like I said, I'm really, really excited to be here at Remington and love what we're doing here.
Clint, when did you get that where you finally decided, man, it's just not going to work out here?
Right at the end of the year. Actually, I'll be honest, it was during the season. There were just so many issues that I didn't think that we could ever overcome enough to be as successful as what I'd like for it to be. And, there's some kids that I really hated to leave, really liked coaching there, but there were also some that, I just wasn't the right person for that job with.
You've had a lot of success in your career, and I'll call it coaching hard, but you guys still flourish now? Can you still coach hard?
Oh, these kids here at Remington want to be coached hard, and like I said, when I wasn't coaching them as hard, they were like, "Coach, you need to ramp this back up." And they've responded really well. The parent support here is our parent support at St. John was really good. And this is equal to that, or even maybe a little bit better. So, everybody kind of likes what we're doing, and we're just going to keep trying to plug away and see if we can put a squad out there that's going to be really competitive in a very, very difficult league. Look around, and you got 3 teams that are, in the top 7 in the state that are in our conference. So we're going to have to be good night in and night out.
Compare your feelings that you have right now to compare to what they were a year ago.
My mental health is so much better. I had gotten to where I was either going to have to make a change or I was going to get out. And I mean as in out of education. The coaching aspect was tough at East, but the teaching was even more difficult. It was so hard for me because, I'm always trying to get the best out of kids. And when you have kids in classes that don't want to be in school, don't want to participate in school, I just couldn't say, okay, well, just save the ones that you can, because I'm always of the mindset that I want to save everybody. And it was killing me mentally to not be able to do that. And I had to make a change.
We say coaching hard. That's kind of a wide open statement right there. But you said some pretty good things in there. Caring for the kids, that makes coaching hard a little bit easier. It does not. I mean, they see you still care about them, don't you?
Steve, what I would deem coaching hard is I'm truthful, and sometimes, tough love or truth is hard for kids to hear. Hard for Johnny to hear, hey, Johnny, I don't want you shooting that shot because you're not a very good shooter from there. Or, we need you to be a defensive stopper because you're not a very good offensive player. Now, I won't ever tell a kid, hey, you're not a very good offensive player, but you can get them to focus on their strengths and also let them know, what the expectations are. And I that's what I would call tough coaching or truth or, whatever you want to call it. But that's kind of how I view trying to get kids to be as successful as what they can. You know, I don't think you coddle them. I don't think you fill them full of pipe dreams that, you know, hey, you're going to be a 20-point per game player when, you know, you may be a 2-point per game player.
Yeah, well said. Clint Kinnaman, our guest here on Sportsgate. He's the new coach at Remington's. My favorite quote my father always had, said a player came over to the bench, said, Coach, he said, well, why are you shooting? I said, well, I'm open. They're not guarding me. And he said, why? Do you ever figure out why they're not guarding you? Okay, but...
Well, and I've heard the same one as in, hey, that's good strategy on their part.
Well, I guess that... Clint, you look back and, you know, life is a strange journey for us, you know, but and you look back and everything you know now and things are going great. Do you regret now that decision that, you know, well, maybe I should have stayed at St. John?
You know, I don't know if you ever can have any regrets in life. You know, there's times that over your career you look back and say, you know, what if? You know, one of those what ifs was leaving Missouri State as an assistant. You know, what if? But, you know, at the same time, you look at it and say, well, if I hadn't left Missouri State, I wouldn't have been able to coach my own kids. You know, so I don't know if you can never have regrets. I will say this, it has been very humbling with the whole situation. Not only the East, but, you know, hearing from all the former players, former coaches. Kate actually did a video for me for Christmas, and I bawled like a baby watching it, of, you know, the numerous former players and coaches that took their time to make a video and send it to him. He put them together for the 500th win. You know, extremely humbling. And it also, I'm old. Let's face it, I'm old, but you know, the relationships that you had with players, with coaches, you know, managers, video people, you know, all the way down to, you know, ticket takers and everything. You know, I've been so blessed to be around great people for a very, very long time that made me look a whole lot smarter than what I really am.
Clint Kinnaman again with us on Sports Day today. And Clint, you're in an interesting sub-state. I mean, who knows? It could be you'd be hooked back up in the Central Prairie League again with Ellenwood later on this season. You know, and you get the sub-state.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We got the league. We got our league tournament, and then Ellenwood thrown in there.
Yeah, it's well. I appreciate the time that you spent today, and I mean, where's that passion at right now? Because you kind of go through. Your probably passion wasn't very high last year to get the end of it. Say, man, and then all of a sudden. Everything I've seen sounds like that pilot light's cooking pretty good right now.
You know, sadly, Steve, I was starting to lose a little bit of love for doing it. And like I said, either I had to make a change or I was going to have to, you know, totally get out. And fortunately, I found a place that I think is going to be a great place for me to be. You know, we've got a lot of really good young talent coming. Our 8th grade class is really strong. 6th grade class is really, really strong. And I'm looking at those kids, and I'm thinking, you know, those kids are about like our really good teams were when they were that age at St. John's. So, you know, I think there's some stuff coming. You know, we're going to be extremely young next year, but it's also going to be somewhere. Some freshmen are going to have opportunities to play a little bit of varsity, whether they're ready or not. It's about to come.
You got any 6, 7 kids that, you know, have NBA potential walking around there?
You know, I do not. You know, it's really fun for me to watch Dean and the success that he's been having. I'm glad he's on a roster that, you know, fits decently to his skill set. You know, and we communicate about once every 2 weeks. We'll be in contact. Hopefully he gets fully healthy quick. Obviously Cleveland needs him back right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to maybe help him a little bit develop to get to the level he's at. And the same way with Jackie, looking back, we're in touch. I'm in touch with her, a little bit too. So great to hear from those guys. Great to hear from other former players. And, it's fun for me that I've been able to touch some people's lives in a positive way.
How many guys have coached an NBA player and a WNBA player?
I honestly don't know. I don't know if there's any.
I'm going to say right now, it's never been.
It's kind of a strange, combination. So I have no idea.
Clint Kinnaman, thanks for your time today. It's fantastic to hear you're doing well, and we're going to be watching, see how those Remington Broncos do the rest of the season. Thanks for being on Sports Day again.
Steve, I appreciate you having me on. Everybody have a Happy New Year, too.
Okay, Clint Kinnaman with us here on Sports.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Gray Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Life-changing internet. That's what you get when you sign up for high-speed internet service from H&B Communications in Holyrood. Get speeds up to 1 gig and plans with no phone service required. From personal communication to information and entertainment, internet service through H&B keeps pace with your busy lifestyle. H&B Communications, 108 North Main in Holyrood. Committed to connection.
The need for nurses is constant. Barton Community College offers practical and registered nursing programs. The affordable and challenging coursework is taught by experienced instructors who care about you and have a passion for teaching in the field of nursing. Get hands-on training in the classroom, state-of-the-art simulation labs, and at clinical sites for this high-demand field. The priority application deadline is January 31st. Apply online at nursing.bartonccc.edu.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction. They have quite a few jobs scheduled for the new year, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, this is Adrian Wojnarowski. Check out my podcast, The Woj Pod, with insight and analysis on the top stories in the NBA.
Adrian Wojnarowski, our insider extraordinaire.
Reaction to breaking news.
This is the latest Woj bomb.
And in-depth conversations with some of the biggest names in the league.
Thanks, Woj. Do it again.
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
All right, yes. Thank you, Woj. Appreciate you having me on.
Listen and subscribe to The Woj Pod wherever you listen to podcasts.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug & Associates, this is Mickey Marquis. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
It's time to head to Tiger Town to talk Fort Hays State Tiger sports with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock, on Sports Day.
And welcome back to Sports Day. I'm Mike Hesher. We're now joined by the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers. That is Gerard Wellbrock. And how are things going in the first 3 or 4 days of 2023, Gerard, for you?
Well, they're going well. Happy New Year to you. Good to be back on.
Yes, it's only off for a week or two, but boy, it seems like forever, doesn't it?
It feels like it. Well, I think it's been, I guess I was on briefly 2 weeks ago. I kind of lost my voice right before Christmas. That's always fun. And,
I remember.
Webby was kind and gave me last Wednesday off. So, yeah, I think we're back to 100% now.
Yeah, I was listening one day, and that was the weekend we didn't make contact at all. And I told Webby, I said it was a good thing because Gerard couldn't talk. He had Armbruster do one of the games, and you were on the road, I believe.
Because I kind of lost it after the Northwest game, and he did the women's game. We had a doubleheader.
Right.
He did the first one, and I did the one to kind of, which was probably a good move. I don't know if I'd have been able to get through two that quick yet, but
yep.
hopefully that doesn't happen again. It's been a while since it's had the voice go away, and that's never fun in our business.
Not in this business, no, sir. Well, talking Fort Hays State athletics right now, and as it's unfortunately a touchy subject, but Fort Hays State lost a football player who was shot and killed over New Year's Day. Anything you can tell us about that a little bit? And we're not going to touch. We'll touch briefly on it. So go ahead.
Yeah, but, I don't know many details. It's a sad. Something like that happens. Obviously, it's a sad situation. Daniel Howard, a defensive back from Oklahoma City, and he was back home and outside a bar and was shot. There were five injured in the incident, and don't know a lot of details. I think they're still investigating, and just a bad situation. I know the football team and Coach Brown and athletic director Curtis Hammocky, they've been in contact with the family, and just can't imagine what they're going through. And I didn't know him real well. I mean, he started 9 of 11 games, but a good kid, and Coach Brown even said that. Just really nice kid, and obviously anytime something like that happens, it's horrific. And I'm sure as a coach, I mean, you don't. There's nothing that prepares you to handle a situation like that. So just certainly our thoughts and prayers with his family. As a big blow, he started 9 of 11 games. He was he was going to probably be one of the starting defensive backs this upcoming season. And it was just 1 year in Hays, but he came in the spring, so he was there for the spring before the season he played after junior college. But just a sad situation, no doubt.
Yes, it is. So we'll switch over to a little positive news. We'll talk a little bit Fort Hays State basketball now. The men stand at 10-3. They had a pretty good weekend this past weekend as they defeated Central Missouri and Lincoln to get to that 10-3 mark, and they're in third place right now, correct, in the MIAA?
Yeah, good weekend. Played well. They're getting a little healthy. Ian Enaruna, their 6'9" post player, the transfer from Evansville, injured his knee 5 minutes into the first game and really gutted through it for a while, and they finally shut him down late November into December just to try to get him healthy. And he's moving a lot better. And he didn't score at all against Central Missouri, but you could see his impact. They're just so much better defensively, gives them more size. And then, in fact, he didn't score the first half against Lincoln on Monday and then scored 7 in the second half. But just his presence, excuse me, he's moving a lot better. It's one of those injuries he's never going to be 100%. It's not going to get any better. They're just hoping it doesn't get any worse, and they can kind of manage that and playing through the pain. But they're a lot better with him on the floor, and you can see that. They're so much better defensively, and that's what they hang their hat on. I mean, they're defense first. They were that way a year ago. He makes them a better rebounding team, and if he can give them anything at all offensively, that's a shot in the arm. Gabe Pichel's playing a little banged up, but I mean, he's not 100%, but he's so good, and all those things that never show up on a stat sheet, he provides, and all those things that help you win basketball games. But they've actually shot the ball a little bit better, and that's been big. And when they can do that, they'll be in the mix. And they're having a busy stretch. They had the 2 games this week. They're going to play again tomorrow. Then they play Saturday. They're going to have their makeup with Missouri Western from the first semester on Tuesday, and then they get Kearney. So they were like 2 games in 27 days. Now they're going to have 4 in 8 and 5 in 11. They're going to find out real quick, like Mark Johnson says, in about another week and a half, you're going to be one of 3 teams. You're going to be a team fighting to make the conference tournament. You're going to be a team fighting to get a first-round bye, or you're going to be a team battling for the conference championship. If they can have another good 3-4 games, they'll be in that mix of a team playing for a conference championship. They're right there, but they got a little more work to do, obviously. But they're battling and playing some of their better basketball, I think, of the year right now.
My question is, when has a Mark Johnson team not been defensive-oriented?
That's obviously he's a defense-first guy. They haven't always had the personnel to do that. I mean,
okay.
And so, I mean, that's always the mentality, but he's finally, it's been, last several years, he's gotten the team, not only had the pieces to do that, they had the mentality and the makeup, and they bought in. I mean, they know it. And that's one thing about his team the last couple of years. I mean, they're going to be in games. They're going to find a way to be in it, even against Northwest and these, nationally ranked teams. You saw this year with Central Oklahoma. You saw with Northwest. I mean, they're there. They may not win it, but they're going to find a way. They're going to play good enough defense. They're going to find a way to be in it at the end, and you try to win it. And that's really the way it's been. I mean, you look at all of their losses; they've been right there. And so that's exciting, and I fully expect them to be in the hunt for when it comes time at the end of the year for a conference championship, and then you got to win some of those big games to do it. But this team's just really fun to watch. I can't remember a game they haven't just given full max effort and given themselves a chance to win every time they're on the floor.
Switching over to Tony Hobson's, we're talking with Gerard Wellbrock, the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Switching over to Tony Hobson's women's squad, they're 12-4. They did lose this past weekend to Central Missouri, 63-62. They did come back to beat Lincoln, but Central Missouri's undefeated, and I'm sure they're ranked in the top 10 now.
Number 5, I think they moved up. The poll came out late yesterday, so yeah, they moved up. And Fort Hays without Katie Wagner, she rolled her ankle the very first practice back from the holidays. And they did not take her. At first, they thought it was pretty severe, maybe a month out. Sounds like she's going to give it a go tomorrow. I don't know if she'll be 100%, but she practiced today, and from all accounts, moved pretty well, so that's a good sign. And I'm not going to say they beat Central with her, but I would have liked to have seen that, taking those chances. They really played well. I mean, they were right there in that game. Defensively, I think is where they have made the biggest strides. And they're young, and that's usually the case. The defense comes along a bit later, but they've been really good defensively, minus Monday against Lincoln. They weren't real good, but I think you saw the second end of a road trip, and a team. You went from playing the first place to the last place team. They just didn't have that edge, but they shot it so well it didn't matter. But yeah, they were right there and had a pretty good look at a three from their best three-point shooter. Just didn't go in. So even though they lost that game, I felt really good about where they're at and where this team can be. They just, they got to be careful with 4 losses now. Division II's funny. There may be a lock for an NCAA tournament in Division I. Their margin's getting thin. You got to start winning some of these games against good teams, or you're going to find yourself on the outside looking in. That was Central Missouri a year ago. They played a brutal schedule, very similar to what Tony Hobson's team is doing this year, and basically it came down. Fort Hays beat them on their home floor at the end, and they kept them out of the tournament. Fort Hays hopefully is in that situation, but they need to win some of these big games, and they need to do it to have a chance to win the league. And you look at their schedule out of the break. They already played Western, who's going to be in the hunt, but you played Central Missouri on Saturday. You've got Missouri Southern, who you shared the league title with. You get them tomorrow. You get Kearney a week from Saturday. Pitt State's going to be in the mix. I mean, these first, 4 out of their first 5 games are against the other teams that are going to be competing for the league championship. So you got to win a few of these if you want to have a chance to win the conference title. And it's the best of the best facing each other right here in early January in the MIAA.
I was up for the Newman University game, and I was impressed with, first of all, Emma Ruddle defensively, along with Kate Da Silva, I think is how you pronounce it. Man, Da Silva just has endless energy, what I saw.
Yeah, and that's when they signed her out of high school in Nebraska, Tony Hobson, his thing is like her motor never stops. I mean, she is in the first quarter, she is the same in the fourth, and man, we've seen that. And he's used the E word with her for her defense. He's, she thinks, and I agree, getting close to that elite defender status. She's one of the top stealers in the. She's averaging like 4 steals a game here the last few games, and just is there. And you can't. And, she gets the ball in the open court. She's going to win the track meet.
She's fast too. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, she's an outstanding. She's a great track, and I mean, if she wasn't playing college basketball, she'd be running track somewhere. She had an outstanding high school track and field career, and you can see that on the floor. But she is so good defensively, and she hasn't shot it as much as I think she should. I think she's got a pretty good shot, and she started to hit a few threes, and that ends getting a little more confident. And if she adds the offensive game, a more consistent offensive game to everything else, I mean, wow, she's going to be phenomenal. and already is pretty good. And you're right with Ruddle. She's quick. And her game is, I mean, she was 2 or 3 from 3 the other day. And when she can get a consistent three-point shot, I think she's a good shooter. It's just been the consistency, and looks like she's starting to get that a little bit. But, I mean, a lot of times she'll get the team's quicker or better player and try to defend them, and with her quickness. And she's got decent size, and so her minutes have gone up because of that. And you know, Sydney Galladay, their point guard, is starting to shoot the ball a little bit better. That was probably early on. The defense wasn't where I know Coach wanted it to be, but they were young, and you're starting to see them play good defense. That's why they're in the Central Missouri game.
Hey, Gerard, I would love to continue this conversation.
Gotta go.
We're just
no
about
problem. I got
time.
on a roll there.
You know I could talk with you about Fort Hays State athletics pretty much all day long, so I appreciate the time, and have a good call this weekend, and hopefully the Tigers get a couple of big wins on both the men and women's side. Thanks for the time, Gerard.
See you next week. Thanks.
All right, thanks, sir. That is Gerard Relbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers.
Let technology bring you closer this holiday season to loved ones near and far. With unlimited data as low as $25 a month, you can get the phone you want with the features you need from the best people. Next Tech Wireless. Keeping Kansans connected.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. And after a year in business, Dr. Luke Criley has joined the practice. He is a physical therapist that also offers dry needling. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse, 2817 9th Street, Great Bend.
And welcome back to Sports Day. I'm Mike Hesher. We were joined earlier by Mike Corson and Aaron Clark. We appreciate their time. Also, Webby had a great interview with Clint Kinnaman, who started out with Jackie Stiles way back when at Claflin, if you remember that. And then we had the head coach of the Lady Panthers, that's Cindy Beck, and we just got done talking with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Welbrock. Pretty good show, and as far as I'm concerned. But Sports Day is presented to you by Barton Community College and Barton Community College Athletics. Get ahead with online or dual credit classes at Barton Community College. Earn a certificate or associate degree while in high school. Learn more at gobarton.com. We will be back tomorrow with more Sports Day, and we appreciate all your time today. Quick check of scores last night in the high school basketball. In the WAC, Dodge City defeated Garden Plain 67-57. Smoky Valley defeated Hoisington in the Mid-Central League 40-34. This is boys scores. Ellsworth defeated Larned 60-22. On the girls' side, Garden Plain defeated Dodge City 33-22. Smoky Valley girls with a 43-39 win over Hoisington, and Ellsworth defeated Larned 46-33. That'll pretty much wrap up today's show. You can be with us tomorrow. We'll be here at 12:30. It'll be Mike Corson, Steve Webster, and me back tomorrow for Sports Day. As we bring you Sports Day, we're back for the second decade. Special thanks to Steve Webster as he got it through the first decade, and now we're trying to get through the second day. You've been listening to Sports Day on 1590 KBGB. Have a great day, everyone.